Well, let's start with some international news first. And Bangladesh Chief Justice Surendra Kumar Sinha has finally quit from his position. The development comes short 6 weeks after he went on a forced leave of absence. Now, Justice Sinha had faced criticism from the ruling party when he had decided to scrap Parliament's authority to impeach Supreme Court judges. Sinha is currently in Australia. He is the country's first Hindu Chief Justice and had taken office in January 2015. His tenure was to end in January next year. The US Congress has authorized $700 million to reimburse Pakistan for activities that it has carried out in support of Washington's operations in Afghanistan. Now, according to reports in the Pakistani media, as many as $350 million will be made available to Pakistan under the Coalition Support Fund contingent upon certification from the Secretary of Defence that Pakistan is taking steps against the Haqqani network. The former Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's son Hussein and Hassan have been reportedly declared offenders. This comes after both of them exhausted the deadline to surrender in connection with the 3 cases that have been filed against them. According to reports, the proclamation order had also asked Hassan and Hussein to surrender and join the proceedings. Their assets may also be seized as they have failed to surrender so far to the Pakistani establishment. Now, tens of thousands of people marched in demonstration that was organized by the far-right groups in Warsaw as the Poles celebrated their country's Independence Day. Now, the participants marched in the streets of Warsaw under the slogans, "We want God." These are words from an old Polish religious song. A large number of people also marched with a red and white flag, while banners depicting the far-right symbol called the Falanga were also unfurled by a section of the crowd. Now, the crowds chanted slogans like "Pure Poland," "White Poland," "Refugees Get Out." Now, these were the slogans which echoed in these far-right rallies. The United States and Russia have issued a presidential joint statement saying that there was no military solution to the war in Syria. This comes after US President Donald Trump and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin met briefly on the sidelines of the APEC summit in Vietnam. The two leaders have also expressed mutual determination to defeat the so-called Islamic State in the war-ravaged country. Leaders from the United States, Japan, Australia and India will be holding a dialogue on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit in the Philippines. In diplomatic terms, this is a quadrilateral. Now, despite this being the 50th year of ASEAN, it is seen as the rise of the Indo-Pacific and seems to be the flavor of the season. After months of behind-the-scenes diplomacy, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will of course be laying the groundwork for this credible alternative in Manila against China's One Road and One Belt initiative. Thousands of people thronged the streets in Barcelona demanding the release of jailed Catalan leaders. Over 750,000 people participated in the mega rally demanding freedom for the political prisoners who've been jailed for their roles in the Catalan referendum that took place on the 1st of October. The former Catalan president Carles Puigdemont has also addressed the protesters, and in a pre-recorded message from Brussels, he has urged the democratic world to not ignore the demand of the Catalans. The 15th edition of the biennial Dubai Air Show is set for a grand opening today. The event is expected to feature more than 1,200 exhibitors and over 160 aircrafts will be on display. The 5-day event is expected to attract as many as 72,500 visitors this year, and with more than 1,000 exhibitors representing the entire spectrum of the aerospace industry. The event is also expected to exceed the previous editions in terms of the number of people and the exhibitors it draws. The Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba has amassed sales of nearly $25.3 billion from the Singles Day sales extravaganza. Now with this, the company has smashed its own earlier record with 40% jump from last year's figures. Last year, Alibaba had seen $17.8 billion sales during the day-long event. The annual online sales have become the world's biggest shopping spree. The company has bagged as many as $8.6 billion worth in just 1 hour. US President Donald Trump has announced that his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping is planning to impose more sanctions against North Korea. Now, President Trump has taken to Twitter and he has stated that President Xi wants Pyongyang to denuclearize. He's also tweeted saying that President Xi of China has stated that he's upping the sanctions against North Korea and has said that he wants them to denuclearize North Korea. Progress is being made. However, China has not formally announced any plans to further up the sanctions against North Korea. The residents have marked the Veterans Day near the site of the Texas shooting at the First Baptist Church of Sutherland. The pastor of the rural Texas church is considering demolishing the building and putting up a memorial in its place. The attack carried out on the church last week had left as many as 26 people dead and 20 others injured in what was described as the worst shooting in the state of Texas. Disneyland has shut down and decontaminating 2 cooling towers following an outbreak of Legionnaire's disease. The chief medical officer for Walt Disney Parks and Resorts has said that after learning of the Legionnaire cases, park officials have ordered the cooling towers treated with chemicals to destroy the bacteria and also to shut them down. The City of London has held its annual street parade to mark the inauguration of its newly elected Lord of Mayor. Thousands of people and dozens of decorated floats took part in the show, which is its 802nd year. The public parade also saw Charles Bowman, the 690th Lord Mayor of the City of London, travel from the Guildhall to the Royal Courts of Justice before the swearing-in allegiance to the Crown. US Vice President Mike Pence took part in a wreath-laying ceremony to honor the military veterans at the Arlington National Cemetery, where he spoke about the burden borne by those who serve. He also has helped volunteers to clean the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington and was joined by his wife along with 24 others who cleaned the memorial from the top to bottom for the early morning event. Chinese President Xi Jinping met with the Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte on strengthening bilateral ties on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in Da Nang. Now, Vietnam, President Xi has said that since Duterte's visit to China in October last year, bilateral ties have opened a new chapter between the two countries. China-Philippine relations have seen some stable developments, bringing some tangible benefits to both the nations and also contributing to the region's peace and stability. Alright, let's now shift our focus to some national news now, where in the wake of the 2 conditions laid by the National Green Tribunal on two-wheelers and women, the Delhi government has decided to withdraw the odd-even plan. The government has said that it will be approaching the Green Panel on Monday and will be filing a review petition for them to reconsider their decision regarding the 2 conditions. Trucks carrying various goods have been stranded at New Delhi's borders after the government has banned their entry into the city to tackle the worsening pollution levels. The commercial trucks have been banned from entering the city unless they are transporting essential commodities. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi has said that his party will bring a better goods and services tax than the current one if they are voted to power in the year 2019. While addressing a public rally in Gujarat, he said that Congress's GST will contain only one tax slab of 18% and maximum terms will be kept out of its purview. The fishing net industry in Tamil Nadu is complaining that they are suffering losses due to the Sri Lankan Navy involved in the trade. Net makers in coastal town of Rameshwaram are a distressed lot due to low sales of the fishing nets. Now, they've said that the Sri Lankan Navy frequently arrests Indian fishermen on charges of fishing in their territorial waters, and this has created fear amongst the fishermen. Now, students of a private school in Hyderabad have staged a protest in front of the school premises on Saturday against the long class hours. Now, they've raised slogans against the management demanding a reduction in school timings. Hyderabad Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao released a coffee table book on Saturday named The Journey of the Hyderabad City Police, written by Nupur Kumar. The book tells about the journey that's been made by the Hyderabad City Police and their style of patrolling, ranging from cycle to cyber crime investigations, and also the changes that has been witnessed over the last several years. About 100 underprivileged children in Mumbai had their first flight experience after they flew over the metropolis for about 45 minutes. India's Jet Airways had flown partnered with an NGO saying Save the Children and took them on a special flight. The event was titled Flight of Fantasy and was aimed at giving these young kids an opportunity to experience flying in a plane. The tour guides in Rajasthan are protesting against the upcoming Bollywood blockbuster Padmavati on Saturday. Leading the protest, Jaipur Tourist Guides Association's president has said that the historical facts have been distorted in the film Padmavati, which is already receiving flack from the Rajput community groups for incorrect depiction of Rajput Queen Padmini, which is set for release on the 1st of December. A three-day Russian film festival kicked off in New Delhi on Friday with a tribute to Bollywood's showman Raj Kapoor. The festival, called Russian Film Days, opened with a special performance dedicated to Kapoor and the screening of his cult classic Mera Naam Joker. The film festival aims to upgrade the bridge between cinematographers between India and Russia. Well, to some entertainment news now. And multi-Grammy Award-winning pop artist Taylor Swift unveils her first studio album in 3 years, titled Reputation. While the album has earned mixed reviews from fans and critics alike, Reputation is soared to the top of the iTunes chart on its first day of release. Now, Taylor's latest album, which is often touted as her revengeful comeback, generated more than 1.5 billion tweets just 3 hours before it dropped. Unlike her other albums, Reputation was not made available to the music streaming services. Multi-Grammy winning singer Lionel Richie, American producer Judd Apatow and also Oscar-winning actress Kate Winslet have won the top honors at the Screen Actors Guild Patron Awards Gala in Los Angeles. While Winslet picked up the Actors Inspiration Award, Judd Apatow was given the Patron of the Artist Award alongside Catherine Bigelow. The singer and songwriter Lionel Richie was awarded with the Recording Artists Inspiration Award, and the awards are organized to raise funds for the ailing actors who are in need of financial assistance. Italian filmmaker Luca Guadagnino takes his upcoming period romance Call Me By Your Name to the ongoing American Film Institute's Film Festival. Now, while the film releases in the United States on the 24th of November, the movie has already been screened in over 40 film festivals by now. The film stars American actors Armie Hammer and Timothy Chalamet as the leads.